Hello, everybody, and welcome to our daily check-in. It is Tuesday, and it is beautiful outside. Um, Today and yesterday, in school, we were having some live events, as you know, talking about some tough topics. Okay, and what I have found that after the last period today, that I really felt mentally drained because, as a teacher, I want to make sure I give you as much information as possible, but I also want to make sure that you feel heard and that you know that I care about you all very much. And so today's video is really going to be about dealing with situations and things in life, and kind of how to manage it. So, my nephew, who is a fireman and a paramedic, um, I am sure has seen a lot of things. And sometimes, it's very hard to get some of those things out of your head, right? Or be in that moment because you're thinking about the horrible events that you have witnessed. Now, I know my brother in law, who is also a fireman, I know has definitely seen some things in his time. And I want to kind of mention that because sometimes we live in experiences where our minds are constantly racing, and they're not always racing, I would say, in our favor, right? We're thinking about all these thoughts that aren't really good for us. And I mean more of the lines of like stress, anxiety, worrying about getting things done on time, etc. So coincidentally, my nephew had sent me a book in the mail. Now, I didn't know it. It was just random out of nowhere. He sent me this book, and this is the name of the book. It's called Stillness is the Key. I have not finished this book yet, but I have been reading it. And immediately in this book, I realized this book was for me. I guess my nephew knew me pretty well to know that this book would be a good fit for me. And I've enjoyed it because it's had some historical context to it. But there's something of there's a passage that I want to read to you guys, which really stood out to me. And that's really the focus of this conversation. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I am guilty of not being sometimes the person that this author is talking about. So please bear with me as I read this passage. Okay, it says, "Who is so talented that they can afford to bring only part of themselves to bear on a problem or opportunity? Whose relationships are so strong that they can get away with not showing up? Who is certain that they'll get another moment that they can confidently skip over this one? The less energy we waste regretting the past or worrying about the future, the more energy we will have for what is in front of us. We want to learn to see the world like an artist, and this is the part that I really want you to kind of grasp, okay? We want to learn to see the world like an artist. While other people are oblivious to what surrounds them, the artist really sees, their mind fully engaged, notices the way a bird flies, or the way a stranger holds their fork, or a mother looks at her child. They have no thoughts of the morrow. Okay? All they are thinking about is how to capture and communicate this experience." And the reason why that passage stood out to me is because I'll be the first to admit that I'm always thinking of the negative, right? I think of, I have all this work to do. I'm never going to get it done. I have to do professional development. I have to make sure I get my grades done. I got to make sure I get my lesson plans ready, and a lot of the times, I might even tell my own kids, I can't right now because I have to work, right? And I'm not living in the moment. I'm not saying, okay, well, right now is the time for us to hang out and be together, and I will put my work aside and I will focus on the present, the moment. Um, you know, Sometimes if I'm outside and I'm complaining, oh, it's so hot out here, as opposed to saying something along the lines like, wow, that's a really, pretty flower, or the fact that, feeling the rays of sunshine is a lot nicer than being cooped up inside. So I admit that I struggle with this as well, and I guess that's probably why I'm bringing it up to you because this book is, I mean, like I said, I haven't finished it, but what I've read so far is really talking about how you can kind of clear your mind and take a moment and slow down. Because if you are stressed about something, right, and your mind is working quickly, sometimes you just need to pause and really take a moment to think, okay? Even if you have to sit in silence to process, because you sometimes when you're overthinking things, the solution that you come up with might feel rushed, right? So the example that they give in historical context was with the Cuban Missile Crisis and how President John F. Kennedy, when they were putting missiles in Cuba, John F. Kennedy's advisors, a lot of them, some of them were saying that they should just, go attack Cuba, strike Cuba, blow up all these missiles, etc. And he didn't do that. He took time and really paused and thought about what his decision was going to be, and in turn, he helped prevent a nuclear holocaust, basically. But I'm sure it was very difficult to do that. And I'm not telling you it's easy to stop and pause and really take some silent time to think about some decisions you're going to make. But what's strange is when I think about usually video topics or I think about certain activities I want to do, I usually do it when I'm laying down and it's total silence because then I can just take a deep breath and let the ideas kind of come into my mind. And that is what I'm asking for you guys. Sometimes you just need to be in silence at times so you can process things. If you fall behind in your schoolwork and you start stressing about it and all you're thinking about is I have all this work, how am I going to get it done, as opposed to just taking a moment and thinking, okay, well, I can only do one assignment at a time, so let me just process how to do the one. It's like baby steps, and then you do the next one, and then slowly you will accomplish what you want to get accomplished. um, but I think as a society, okay, we're always going so fast and we're always um, looking for entertainment. And that's another thing. When my kids say they're bored, my response is usually good. I'm glad you're bored. Because when you are bored, okay, that is when your creativity kicks in because it has to. Okay? There's nothing wrong with being bored. There's nothing wrong with not having a phone in your hand, right? There's nothing wrong with being disconnected from technology, okay? In fact, I encourage it because we have so many things at our fingertips that will entertain us or keep us busy that what's happening is we're being distracted and we're not living in the moment. We're not enjoying the fresh air. We're not enjoying the conversations with our families. We're not enjoying a nice family dinner because you're constantly thinking about, I want to text so and so, or I want to go on YouTube, or I want to go on TikTok, or I want to go on Instagram, or, something along those lines. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of some of these things, um, but I think maybe together we can make a commitment to try to live more in the moment, right? Maybe keep away from our devices. I think I'm just going to have to set a goal for myself that I'm going to put my phone down for certain amounts of time during the day, uh, and just kind of start having conversations. Because I find sometimes when I'm on my phone and people talk to me, I get really annoyed. And I really shouldn't, because those people are more important than my phone. Um, so I'm hoping, even I need to learn these things. And as I'm reading this book, it's making me think like I need to make a change. So I'm just letting you know this because I don't want you to think you're alone if you have these feelings. But I also want you to understand that there's a movie, I'm not going to say the name of the movie, but the main character could fast forward events with a remote, right? And what ended up happening is the way the movie plays out is that he missed out on his whole life because he just fast forwarded through it. And I don't want you to do that. Okay, slow down, put the devices down, and just try to enjoy being a kid, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy whether it's swimming or running in a sprinkler or having a barbecue and just laughing. So maybe we can make an agreement together that we're going to slow down and we're going to try to enjoy things because life moves fast enough. Let's not think about what's happening the next day and the day after, because if we spend so much time focusing on those things, we're never going to focus on the things that are literally right in front of us. Right? So I guess that's my preachy moment for the day. And I think the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I've been spending so much of my own personal time thinking about schoolwork and lessons, etc., that I have not shown enough attention to the people in this house, you know, when normally I would, because when I leave school, I leave my stuff at school usually, or I try. Whereas now I feel like I'm on school mentality 24/7, and I need to learn to not always look at my phone, not look at social media, not look at so many negative things, because in that moment, those negative things will probably still be there the next day. So let's just try to think of the positive and be in the moment. So I hope this is helpful to some degree. And if you did experience the live event that we had, I hope we were able to answer your questions. But just know that I do care about you guys very much, and that if any of you are hurting, you know, I'm hurting for you, and you can reach out to me anytime. Okay, have a wonderful day. And I'm sorry this was kind of like maybe a downer, but I'm just outside right now looking. See, this is sunshine that I plan on going out and enjoying, because I really need the sunshine. It's been that kind of day. All right, until our next check-in. Peace out, people.